right, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. We'll go ahead and get started with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. And we will go ahead and start it off with Pete Sampson.
Hey, Jeremiah. I had a question sort of about confidence. This is a unique situation. You go against number one. You're not in this spot a lot. Where do you guys sort of get the confidence from to be ready for this kind of moment?
Well, you become a product of your environment. The more that you're around guys that are confident, the more that you're around guys that love to build, the more that you love, being around guys that like to compete, the easier it is. You feed off of the ones that are around you. You feed off the leaders on the team. And, everybody is an anchor on our defense. Everybody is an anchor on our team. And I believe that, going into this game, it's a great opportunity to face a number one team. You don't get that opportunity a lot. So, in this game, we are looking to lean on the energy of our teammates and, what's deep inside of us.
We'll go next to Tim Prister.
Jeremiah, in your experience playing against young quarterbacks, what makes them uneasy? I'm sure pressure on him does, but what do you want him thinking about when you're out there with him? And what have you seen of their quarterback on film?
Yeah. Well, we want their quarterback to think a lot. We want to disguise a lot. We want to give him things that he hasn't seen before, through whatever it takes. He's a great quarterback. I don't think he's much of a, down step, to Trevor. He's a better or bigger quarterback, I would say. We really haven't had extreme much of film on him, facing a crazy defense or anything. But he's a great quarterback, and we'll be looking forward to seeing what can he bring to the table.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Jeremiah, we haven't had a chance to talk to you since you got your first career interception at Pittsburgh. What did it mean to do that? Were you surprised it took that long, or is it a compliment that teams don't throw your way very much?
Yeah, man, I was in the right place at the right time. All glory to God, man. But it was a good feeling to get your first interception, and just patience. With patience, things that come. My coach always tells me, don't try to make a play for yourself, but the plays that come. So it's just about following your responsibilities and doing your due diligence, and the plays eventually come around to you. So.
We'll go next to Angelo Carlo.
Jeremiah, Trevor Lawrence or not, you still have to deal with Travis Etienne. Your thoughts on what makes him so special, and also just how critical you feel this game is, and whether or not you guys know how big it is for the Notre Dame fan base in terms of, where history has been over the last 25 years for this program.
Yeah, well, man, first and foremost, when we talk about Etienne, he's a very elusive guy, very fast guy. So you want to contain him in the best possible way that you can. And that'll be one of our focuses this week. But in terms of, this game and what the program has been, you can't hide it. It is a big game. A lot of people want to say it's just another game. Well, it is just another game, but, you don't want to hide the elephant in the room. It is something that can increase our value, and especially to where we want to go. National championship is always at the forefront of our minds. And, with having that at the forefront of our minds, you also have to have, the team that's in the way in front of your mind. So Clemson is a great team. We're, appreciative of the challenge that we are going to face Saturday, and I look forward to it. So.
We'll go next to Mark Skoll.
Jeremiah, I'm just curious. I know you didn't play in that 2018 game against Clemson, but I'm sure when you were watching that game, you're thinking, oh, what can I do to help? What can I do to help this team? I'm sure now it's kind of a different feel for you, obviously. What do you remember from watching that 2018 game, and just what that was like watching it instead of playing?
Man, I just being with those guys all year, watching that 2018 game, being on scout team, being out with a broke foot, it hurt because I actually suited up for that game. I was actually on the sidelines, and I think I might have been hurt more than some of the people that were playing in the game because I'm a competitor, extreme competitor, and it's always for the brotherhood. And just watching that game, man, I think this is a journey for the payback for those. Back where I'm from, it's a saying, if they got a problem with you, they got a problem with me, or if you don't like them, I don't like them. So it was kind of like a brotherhood thing for me. And you think about those guys that don't get to play them again, and then you carry that on your back as well, and you want to do it for them as well. So I think that this is a great opportunity for that.
We'll go next to Doug Farmer.
Jeremiah, just following up on Pete's original question, you say being around confidence breeds more confidence. Aside from everyone, who is it on the defense or the team who brings a good deal of confidence, a little bit of extra confidence every day?
Yeah, man. Particularly, you have Dalen Hayes, Juice Man. You have Nick McLeod. You have Sean Crawford. Sean Crawford's not a one to speak all up in the crowd, but he'll get you one-on-one and he'll get you gassed up. Man, you have coaches, Coach Flint, guys on the sideline, Coach O'Leary, just key guys within our defensive staff and even strength staff as well. Guys like Myron, Kyle Hamilton, funny guy, always get you when, you in a bad mood or, play didn't go right. He'll always get you back on your feet laughing and things like that. And all those guys that are listed as far as football players are competitors. And when you're constantly around them, you have no choice but to slowly formulate, to being a competitor just like them as well. And they feed off of you as well. And that comes from, our background. So, yeah.
We'll go next to George Bashura.
Jeremiah, being the captain of the team, what do you do to talk to the younger players? Because you've been in your share of big games. What's the discussion you have with the underclassmen to not get lost in the moment, but to channel that energy and to use it at the right points in time?
Man, it's a thing where you have to get them in the mindset, whereas to be nervous isn't an option. Coming from Hampton, Virginia, bright lights Friday nights or, even Saturdays sometimes with basketball being so intense. It's just competitive every single day. And our coach for my football high school team always tells us nervousness is not an option. So when you're talking to young guys, you're talking to freshmen, and you're talking to people who are just playing, you got to let them know that nervous is not an option. You got to understand that this is a game that can potentially change your life, potentially change the program. And, when talking about playing Clemson, you have nerves and you slip up and you have a mistake. And mistakes, towards a good team, they'll take advantage of those mistakes. So we want to make sure that they understand that this is, a big game for them and their transition to becoming a good player. So we want to take the nervousness out and just be free and play. And I think Coach Lee has done a great job with that, putting together a scheme that doesn't allow for young players or players who are inexperienced to just, be thinking constantly on the field. Rather they can open their minds and be free to play. So.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Jeremiah, we've been watching Travis Etienne for a few years now, but this season he's really taken his receiving ability, especially out of the backfield, to a new level. 15 yards a catch is kind of crazy for a running back. What challenges does he pose that that are really tough for a defense to handle?
Yeah, well, like you said, man, he's a fast guy. He's like a rover on offense. He's all over the place, man. I think we were watching film today and we saw him out there on the number one slot. The number one wide receiver. Go on the go route. So he's all over the place, and we want to really contain him. I told you earlier that he would be a main focus for us. We stop him, and we're in good shape. So fast guy, elusive, big, gritty guy as well, and he's ready to attack. But we're also ready to attack as well. So we'll see what plays out.
All right, and we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Woo.
Appreciate y'all.
We'll continue in a few moments with Nick McLeod. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. All right, and we will continue with Nick McLeod. Nick, your first question is from Eric Hansen.
Okay. Hey, Nick, I got a couple for you. One is, what was it like trying to acclimate for the first time with a new team during COVID? You're meeting them for the first time in the summer. The second question is, did you watch the 2018 Notre Dame Clemson game?
As far as acclimating, I mean, I really just tried to be myself when I got to campus. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really want to try to do too much or try to make myself fit in, if that makes sense. And like as far as COVID, it was kind of tough. Like seeing everybody in masks, not seeing everybody's face, not recognizing everybody. But I mean, I feel like I meshed well with everybody once we start working out, so that made it a lot easier. And then I believe we were in Jacksonville, or I can't remember. Jacksonville, maybe. I think we were playing Texas A&M when Notre Dame played Clemson the first time. So I was on the bus watching the game after practice. Then when we got back, finished watching the game because, like I said, me and Troy are really close. So I was rooting for him pretty hard. So I definitely watched the first game in 2018.
We'll go next to Matt Connolly.
Hey, Nick. I'm with the state newspaper in South Carolina. I was just wondering, do you have a relationship with Darian Kendrick, and have you talked to him at all about this week?
Oh man, me and DK are so close. It's honestly scary. I mean, he's like my little brother. We've been close for a really long time. Trying not to talk to him this week, but definitely gonna give him a big hug after the game. So we're really close. And BT Potter as well, and Braden Galloway as well. So those three are my guys. So.
We'll go next to Tim Priester.
Hey, Nick, when you're studying film of opposing receivers, what kind of things are you looking for? I don't know how much opportunity you've had up to this point to see Clemson. And secondly, I know there's not a lot of film on the young quarterback you'll be facing, but what did you see from him?
As far as receivers, I would say just really focusing in on their releases with me trying to get up and press. Focus on their speed, seeing how fast they are, if they can challenge me deep. Then just how they get in and out of routes and splits and everything like that. So, but as far as the young quarterback, I mean, he's very, very talented. Strong arm, bigger body, so he can run through arm tackles, run through you if he needs to. So he's very talented, I would say.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Nick, you obviously have some experience going against Clemson and their receivers down there. Mm-hmm. How does this group maybe contrast to the Justin Ross, T. Higgins groups that you have played in the past when you were at NC State?
Clemson is always going to have a great wide receiver room. Of course, those guys in the past had more experience than these guys, but these guys can go as well. So very explosive. So at the end of the day, it's just going to be experience is going to help me, but at the end of the day, it's going to be me trying to make plays over them trying to make plays. So definitely respect them a lot. Always going to have respect for their receiver room, so I know they're going to be ready to go.
And we will circle back to Matt Connolly.
I was just going to follow up on Darian Kendrick. Just what is it about y'all that makes y'all so close? And I guess your relationship, how did it kind of build when you were in high school? And then I was also going to ask, did Clemson recruit you at all? Or did they show any interest?
As far as DK, I feel like you can kind of see we're kind of the same player if you watch us play. A lot of fire, a lot of competitiveness. He's gonna compete, gonna get the ball. So I feel like we got close. My senior year, going to his sophomore year, you know what I'm saying? He used to ride home me every day, pick him up, go to workout, take him home every day. We played football, basketball together from the time he was in 9th grade to 10th grade. So we won a state championship together. So this is a lot of events that built up to making us as close as we are. And what was the second question? I can't remember.
Regarding if Clemson recruited you in your process.
Not really. They showed a little interest, but I wouldn't. They really didn't recruit me though.
We'll go next to Eric Hansen.
Hey, Nick, following up on an earlier question that I had for you, when you did watch the 2018 game, do you remember your perception of Notre Dame as a program at that point? And also, I'm kind of curious, again, when you first came in, who was the toughest cover for you in practice? Who was the hardest person for you to deal with in practice of the receivers, Notre Dame's receivers?
Mm-hmm. Well, that 28 game, as far as Notre Dame as a program, I mean, I had played them 2 times in 16 and 17. We beat them in 16. We came up here. They beat us pretty bad in 17. So I had a lot of respect for Notre Dame as a program at that point. Then, of course, just the tradition of Notre Dame. So definitely a lot of respect. And then as far as receiver, I was really matched up with Javon when I came started camp since Kevin was hurt. So me and Javon really went at it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he made me better. I made him better. So it was good competition there.
We'll go next to Lou Emoji.
Nick, earlier today, Coach Kelly had talked about how there was an initial rough spot when you came in as far as just acclimating to, some of the standards in the weight room and in the overall conditioning. What were some of the biggest maybe culture shocks or acclimations that you had to go through that maybe surprised you a little bit or helped you a lot?
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me when I first came in was just coming back over my knee injury. I wasn't able to do a lot at home. So just getting back into shape from that. And then, because I wasn't lifting or running. So I feel like that was the biggest thing.
And we'll go next to Mark Skoll.
Hey, Nick, obviously huge game on Saturday, number 1 versus number 4, top 5 matchup. First time number 1 teams coming to South Bend since 2005. What's the excitement level about the hype about this game coming in on Saturday and what this can do for this Notre Dame football program?
I mean, it's definitely there. I feel like nobody can really ignore it. But as far as the day-to-day basis, we're just really trying to focus on what we can do better today to focus on the details Saturday. So, I mean, we're trying to keep it calm right now, but it's definitely there. So.
We'll do one last call for questions. If there are any questions, please go ahead and raise your hands. All right, Nick, and we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will go ahead and continue with Kyron Williams. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. And Kyron, your first question is from Patrick Engel.
Hey, Kyron, you guys stuck with the running game at Pitt despite their, being able to, limit you to a degree. What did that continuing to go to that well and the staff's trust in you guys to keep running kind of say about their confidence in you and kind of give you a boost in that sense?
I mean, yeah, I think it says a lot about the coaching staff and their trust in us as offense and us as running backs and O-linemen. They believe that we can run the ball at will, no matter if you want to put 8 in the box, no matter how many people you put in the box. They, our offensive line, our coaching staff, everybody on the offense believes that we can run the ball no matter what we do, no matter who's in the box. So whenever we get a chance to, we're going to do that and execute on every time we do it.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Kyron, in short yardage, you guys have been really incredibly efficient this year. What are, 2 or 3 keys to that, to the 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 run game that, maybe goes beyond just like grit or toughness or mentality? Like, what do you guys do really well in that spot?
I feel like every practice we have a 3rd and 1 situation, no matter what it is. So I believe that as an offense, I know as a running back, I have confidence that we will not be stopped on 3rd and 1. And I tell my offensive line that every single play, or every time it's 3rd and 1, I say, let's go, Big O, because we got stuff to do. So I believe that just no matter what, it's 3rd down with the offensive line we got and the running backs and the quarterback we got and the wide receivers that are doing a hell of a job blocking on the edge. There's no way we will be able to be, I believe that the people can stop us on 3rd and 1. So I just feel like with that confidence as an offense, as a running game, I feel like if we just keep going with that, then we'll see a lot of more 3rd down and 1 conversions going on later in the season or throughout the season, rest of the season.
We'll go next to Carter Carls.
Kyron, wondering what you feel like was the biggest reason or reasons that kept you off the field last season.
I wouldn't say there's one specific reason. I feel like that at that time it wasn't my time. It wasn't my time to play. So I accepted that role. I accepted that I would have to wait. I knew that I was getting redshirted. So I don't think it was anything to do with my ability or anything to do with the coaches not believing in me. I just think that I just needed more another year to mature and become a more developed football player. And that's where I'm at now. And that maturity hasn't stopped. That development hasn't stopped. I'm gonna keep develop every single day, every time I step on the field, and it's just a mentality that I just carry with me throughout everything I do in life.
We'll go next to Chris Hummer.
Hey, Kyron, how would you describe what it's like to run behind an offensive line like yours?
I mean, it's something I guess as a running back you dream of, when you got an offensive line like the one we have where they're moving the line of scrimmage every single run. And when you believe that you can stay patient, you can tiptoe behind the line and still be able to find what hole you get to the hole you need to go to. That's when you know you have a good offensive line. And then whenever we have that, us running backs, we cherish that. We take it. We're very grateful for them. We just love our alignment, love what they do for us.
We'll go next to Caroline Pineda.
Hey, Kyron, some of your teammates have said that guys come to Notre Dame to play in games like this week's matchup. If you went back and told your freshman and high school self that you'd be a lead running back in a top 5 matchup now, what would he have said?
I'm not sure what he said. He'd be shocked for sure. But that is true. This is what we come to Notre Dame for. We come to Notre Dame to play top games like this, to play Clemson, to play the best teams in the nation. So we knew that coming in. We knew that from the beginning of the season that we're going to see Clemson, and we're going to keep going, keep doing what we're doing, keep playing as an offense, as a team, as a defense, and as a whole together this weekend, so we can just advance this week and 1-0 and just keep moving on to next week.
We'll go next to Doug Farmer.
Kyron, as you're watching more than playing last year, were there moments or particular situations where you would look at the offensive line, its success, and think, oh, that play right there, that's going to be a play that's waiting for me next year or in my future, and have those come to be reality this season?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I say it a little bit. I mean, I'd see runs here and there that Tony would bust. I'd be like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get one of those. And the big game, really, USC last year, I was like, wow, that's like Tony's really going. He's doing his thing, and the offensive line is doing their thing. So I was just thinking, like, man, I can't wait till I get the opportunity to get behind them boys and then run for them. And so here we are now. Here we are today. I'm I'm able to I accomplished that dream of being able to play running back here, and then I'm just gonna keep going. Just keep, like I said earlier, just keep chasing that every single day.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Kyron, how do you and Sibo and Tyree kind of complement each other? And Jafar was in there as well. But what did you kind of know with Coach Taylor letting you know in August that this is going to be a group effort and every running back's selfish, but everybody also realized that fresh legs are important as the season goes on?
Yeah, for sure. I think we all work off each other. We all bring a different skill to the table. We all are unique in a way. So with Sibo, me, Chris, in the backfield, it's like that hammer and nail. Like that Sibo's gonna come downhill. He's gonna hit you. He's gonna get those yards we need. We're gonna get those bully yards. With Chris, he got that speed, and he'll come down and hit you too. And then with me, it's just like I'll be able to make you miss. I'll run you over to all of that. So I just feel like there is no drop off with running backs. We can throw anybody in, and we can just keep moving as an offense and just keep going.
We'll go next to Angelo Carlo.
Kyron, when that ball comes out on Saturday and they take it back for a touchdown, what's going through your mind, and how much is there a realization now, especially going up against a team like Clemson, that something like that could obviously be even more costly?
Goes to my mind. Like I seen earlier in the FSU game, that when I fumbled, is you can't get down yourself. If you get down, you're just going to keep on making mistakes. So I just know that I got to shake it off, brush it off, and come back stronger. And this week with Clemson, I'm working all week to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I'm doing my part. I'm gonna do my thing to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I'm not really worried about that.
We'll go next to Lou Samoji.
Kyron, what specifically about your skill set would you say has enabled you to thrive this way? Because Notre Dame's emphasizing more of the outside zone this year, and Coach Kelly has even commented that for young backs like you and Chris, it's rare to have that kind of patience to wait for everything to develop on that zone play. What is it in your skill set that you feel enables you to be so productive?
I just feel like it's my natural ability of playing football. It's just those type of things you think about, like you talk about, like the patience and vision. Those things just happen. I mean, when you're on the field, there is really no thinking. Like those instincts that just take over. So I feel like my patience that I worked on a lot this summer. That's a big emphasis for me. Just watching like film from Le'Veon Bell and other running backs that I look up to. Patience is one of the biggest things I try to take into this coming year. So I'm always telling myself to be patient, whether that even if I'm being too fast, I got to slow it down. Like I talked about earlier when I was talking about the offensive line, and be able to even tiptoe behind the line and having that, it's a big key for us as a running backs to so that we can stay patient and hit those holes when they're ready to be hit.
We will next circle back to Chris Hummer.
Hey, Kyron, I was wondering, do you have a favorite block from your time running behind the line? That's something that just stands out in your mind. Maybe you saw it on film on Sunday or Monday and just like, dang, or something live in the moment that stands out to you.
Can you repeat that? You said favorite block?
Yeah, favorite block, maybe even a play where you were looking for a hole, you ended up with 3, and you just had to choose like something that stands out from you from your O-line group.
I say the Louisville game. It would be one reason only, because when I was cutting back, to cut back to get the first down, I actually heard Liam scream "cut back." So I feel like that's a big play to talk about as a lineman. Yeah.
All right, and we will wrap it up with that. Thank you very much, Kyron.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll wrap it up in a few minutes with Jarrett Patterson. So if you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. All right, and we will go ahead and get started with Jarrett Patterson. Jarrett, your first question is from Pete Sampson.
Jared had a couple. One was if you could explain why you guys are so good in short yardage, sort of 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 running the ball. And the other one is kind of at the other end of the spectrum in terms of confidence. And I don't know if you do much with Dr. Selking in terms of visualization, but if you do, how much that has helped you. If not, don't worry about it. But I was curious about those two things.
Yeah, as far as 3rd and short, as soon as Coach Reese got the job of offensive coordinator, our first meeting early in spring, that was something he really harped on is being 100% 3rd and short, and quite frankly, we weren't up to that standard last year at all. We weren't even close. So that's something we take a lot of pride in, especially knowing that in a game 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, Louisville with that 3rd and 5 to seal the game, that the coaches have that trust in us. It really means a lot to us. So we take a lot of pride in that as a group. As far as Dr. Selking, she does a great job. She talks to us, every couple times a week, gives us handouts the days before games, and really just sort of work of visualizing and not getting too hyped over the moment. That's done a really good job for us on the field.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Jarrett, how much more sort of responsibility have you taken on as you've gained experience in terms of the pass protection and making sure everyone's on the same page with that?
I'm taking on a little bit more this year, especially, communicating up front, IDing, 3 down, 4 down, where the mic is. Ian still has a lot of charge of that, and, Coach Reese prefers it like that because he can see the secondary and, safety rotation, things like that. But, if he has any, during the game or during practicing, ask me, hey, should we be in this protection? I'll tell him, yeah, we should, or we know we should check out of it, something else. So they definitely have, coaches that put more trust on me in that, and, I really appreciate it.
We'll go next to Chris Hummer.
Yeah, hey Jarrett. Two quick ones. First, thinking back on your time as a recruit, how do you remember viewing Notre Dame as an offensive line kind of haven? And then building off of that, what do you think it is about Notre Dame's identity that lends itself to consistently strong offensive line play?
As far as a recruit, I didn't really know much about Notre Dame because I didn't get the offer until late in my senior year of high school, a couple months before signing day. After doing research and, watching the draft, Q and Mike, I could see that, they're no joke. I mean, the offensive linemen they're producing, the success they had in the NFL, that put a lot of confidence in me because, my dream is to play in the NFL one day and be a professional. And could you repeat the second part of the question again?
Just regarding what makes Notre Dame a great spot for offensive linemen.
I think it's just a family culture. We have guys from all over the country, Midwest, East Coast, West Coast, and just that welcoming and all trying to get better as one unit. To me, it really stood out compared to other schools I visited during my recruitment process.
We'll go next to Caroline Pineda.
Hey, Jarrett, you're the youngest member of this impressive O-line, but still in your second year as a starter. How have you seen this line continue to grow with so much experience already?
I think just trusting the guy next to us, that they're like on a certain play, if they're bringing up pressure, knowing that the guy behind me and next to me is going to be there for me to look out for me. I think that's just really what it's been down to. We understand our communication, and we do a great job of just seeing everything like through one set of eyes. I think that's the biggest thing that we've taken through the past, almost 2 years playing with each other.
We'll go next to Patrick Engel.
Hey, Jarrett, got a couple of quick ones here for you. Coming off the game at Pitt a couple of weeks ago against a good defense that kind of held you to lower yardage numbers, but you guys converted all the 3rd and shorts and had a couple of long drives in there. How did you, as an offensive line and just rushing unit, come out of that game feeling? And then, secondly, what in particular, following up, did Coach Reese do or Coach Quinn do to really improve you guys and emphasize that short yardage?
We knew going into Pitt that they're a top run defense in the country, and that we're at the grind yards out. 3 or 4 yards. That's the type of day it's going to be. And as far as converting a lot of the 3rd and shorts, we really wore them down. I think that's the biggest thing we took away. That we have 2, 3 tight ends out there. We have Tommy Tremble at fullback. We're going to run it right at you, and they couldn't stop it. So even though the rushing numbers at the end of the day weren't our best, weren't the prettiest, I felt that we established a good enough of a ground game and really opened up in the back end for Ian and the receivers.
We'll go next to Matt Connolly.
Hey, Jared, I don't know how much film you've watched of Clemson so far, but the short yardage defense has been a strength for them under Brent Venables and this year and in years past as well. Is that something you've noticed from watching film, and do you feel like that's going to be important on Saturday?
Yeah, definitely. They're really good, talented defense. They, different a lot of looks, 3 down, 4 down. They throw a lot of different pressures at you, and, come from all over the place. So the biggest thing for us is going to be communication, and whoever doesn't have the better technique that night is going to win the game, quite frankly, because it's 2 good football teams just going at it.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Jarrett, how much better of an offense or a center are you now than you were last season, and where have you made those biggest improvements?
I think I've quite, made substantial steps as far as, just trusting the play and play being called, the guys next to me. I think, the biggest improvements I've made are in the run game and getting, vertical movement, especially against 3 down defenses. For me, that's what I think I've done the best, this past season compared to the last.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Jarrett, I'm wondering, you mentioned 3 down versus 4 down and what Clemson can bring. They also have very good backups and always have at defensive tackle. Is it more of a challenge for you to kind of plan for the alternating 3 down, 4 down, or the fact that they can bring in different athletes? Is that something where, you and Kramer and Banks have to really plan specifically for the skill sets of some of those guys that they're very guys coming in?
Yeah, it definitely always presents a challenge when a team has a lot of depth because they can rotate constantly. So it'd be a little harder to wear them down. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of looks. I mean, this unit has played a lot of games together. We've seen a lot of different looks from a lot of different teams. So, the thing Clemson throws at us, we've seen before, but they execute it very well. So that's what makes it so challenging. So it's going to be a really good battle for us and a great test.
We'll go next to Patrick Engel.
Hey, Jarrett, you touched on Coach Reese early in the spring, emphasizing that short yardage. What in particular did he say, or have you guys done in practice, or even Coach Quinn, if he's involved in there too at all, to really make that a point of emphasis and a point of success?
I think just Coach Reese set the bar really high. I mean, he wants our standard for 3rd and short, 100% in the season. That's what he said he wanted. And during practice, he brings the energy through our, 3rd and short situations, our short yards and goal line. He really brings the energy. The backs, Coach Taylor, do a great job during practice as well. I think just all the units coming together, we just take a ton of pride in keeping the drives moving and be able to run the ball right at you.
We'll go next to Chris Hummer.
Hey, Jarrett, how would you describe the identity of this offensive line, and how do you hope that permeates across the offense as a whole?
Really, what we want our final identity after the end of the season to be a very technical O-line that's very assignment sound, and we'll get after you in the run game and a run first team. That's really what we want to be at the end of the day.
We'll go next to Tyler James.
Jarrett, I'm curious with the offense using some more outside zone concept. How has that changed things for you, and do you feel like that is something that matches well with your strengths as a player?
Yeah, we definitely do run a lot outside zone. It's been an emphasis this season, and for me, I feel like it's a strength. I feel I'm pretty I've good athleticism, and I use it to my advantage. To reach those 2 eyes, 3 techniques, and bumping the guards off to the second level. And I feel like so far this season, our outside zone game has been very solid. And that's a credit to our running backs and quarterbacks as well.
All right. And that was our last question in the queue. So we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.